Welcome. This is Kyle from the Zarubust If I May crew, and this is season 2 of If I May, episode 22. Let's go. What's up, guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Nick,
Kyle,
do you look... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brent.
you look great on your new monitor. It looks.
I know.
It
Oh
looks
my
really stellar
god! You
from
see
here.
this? See this mess of monitor? So I get home today, and I walk through the door, and I see that the time on my oven and microwave are both like blinking, implying I lost power. I was like, huh, that's odd. So I go around and check, and like the TV in the living room was on too. So like that was kind of weird. I don't know why it does. I don't know if it automatically turns on when it gets power. It's a pretty fancy TV. I have no idea. But I get into my computer room. My computer's off. I'm like, okay, definitely lost power. So I go ahead and boot the computer up, and nothing. My monitor, it stays black, and it just goes flick, flick. Like I was like, oh no. So yeah, I troubleshooted it. I ripped the whole thing apart even to see if I could find something to like resolder a capacitor or anything. Nope, I don't see anything wrong with it. I work in a company that I spent 2.5 years looking at circuit boards. I don't see anything wrong. And so it just, went to crap. So now I got a new monitor. It's a nice cheapo HP Walmart one, but it's 24 inches, 1080p. It has a refresh rate of less than 5 milliseconds. So that's good enough for me. And the bezel is actually very minimal. So minimal, in fact, that my camera, it has a little like clip part on the bottom to like hold on to the top of the monitor. It's actually giving me a little bit of a...
If I may.
Yeah.
Translate to English, bezel.
Bezel.
Embezzlement.
If you have listened to any smartphone thing, the bezel is like the area around the phone. So like here's the pixel. This is part of the bezel. This is part of the bezel. Like the space that the screen doesn't cover, if that makes sense. So the very edges of my monitor are very thin. The screen goes pretty much all the way to the end. But because of that, my camera overlaps the very top of my screen. First world problems. And now my monitor has a notch in the top because of my webcam. It's a rough life. So I got one monitor, and I got the little like stand thing to be able to hook up two. So I can get another cheap Walmart monitor to go right next to this one. But for now, I just bought the one because I didn't feel like spending that much money in one night.
Hopping into the dual screen someday.
Right?
21st century dual screen monitor.
I got triple screen at work, and it's fantastic.
So why don't you have a dual screen?
Because monitors are expensive. I don't particularly feel like buying monitors. I don't know. I need another monitor.
Amazon refurbished, my man.
But now I need the same one as this. Otherwise, it's going to look weird, and my non-diagnosed OCD is definitely going to take over, and it's not going to be able to handle it.
You get over it really quickly having two different monitors. Like hopefully they're not too drastically different, but a
Like
slight
Brent's?
difference. No.
Oh yeah, one of mine is rectangular and the other is straight square. There's one good monitor and there's one monitor.
Yeah. But the second monitor is still nice if it's off to the side. I feel like that'd be great for recording the podcast because that way I can actually right now I should almost take a screenshot of my screen because I got stuff all over the place. I got in the top right, I got like our images across the top. Bottom right, I got OBS going. Bottom left, I got the soundboard. Top left's all the notes. It's craziness for one screen.
So Kyle, what I think you should do to make your life simpler is get 8 monitors and with have you seen those the airplane simulators? Like the people that have a cockpit in their garage and they have 8 different ones so you can fully simulate whatever you want to be in. Yeah. That's the way to do it.
That would be awesome. Sounds very expensive.
Just have your whole room just monitors surrounding you.
Right. Okay.
That'd be the dream.
Nick.
So update for me. I am back in Texas for what should be the last time. I flew in on Monday morning and ended up doing a volunteering event at a food bank. That was a fun event.
Food bank in Texas?
Yeah. Yeah, and I've done a volunteering opportunity at a food bank historically when I was in Minneapolis, actually, and it was
Hmm.
for sending food to like Africa or something. And it was a very different process, but still similar. The food bank in Minneapolis, I thought they had a really good scheme. They made the event a competition, so it would be like corporate team building, or if you just got regular volunteers there. It's a little something to make it interesting, whatever. It doesn't matter who wins or loses, but you motivate people a little bit more if you give them a reason to be there other than the goodness of their hearts. But when we did the feeding the people in Africa and around the world one, it was more like you're just going to take these 3 ingredients, put them in a bag, and seal the bag, and you're making a bunch of containers. And it was super minimalist, which is fine, and it was good, and it feeds a lot of people, and these are people hopefully we assume who are in need. And then this Texas food bank was more of a locally based one, and I'm not sure what their business model was, and I only saw one small branch of it because they basically sorted out an entire shift works on one subject area. Well, the subject area our group got to work on was bread and pastries. So we
I'm the
had
gingerbread man.
the opportunity to help package, and I'm not sure how they got this food. It has to have been donated in some way, shape, or form.
One would hope.
These donated, oh yeah, right, instead of stolen, I guess, but or bought it to some extent. But we got pallets of pastries and bread delivered to our area, and they were waiting for us. And when we finished out everything that was there, they brought in more, and they would package the pastry separate from the bread, and do something similar like when we did for the other food bank, where you weigh it out and you document it, and then you package it up and you palletize it and you ship it out. The thing here was they were getting rid of essentially expired food. I volunteered for the garbage crew because I figured it'd be heavy lifting, and I'm a bigger guy.
They're talking trash, so you're gonna be the garbage man.
Yes, I volunteered to be the garbage man because that would be heavy lifting as opposed to someone who is not as strong, who can just measure things and be more useful that way. So I volunteered to be the trash man, and I am so glad I did, because a lot of the food that was donated or sent to us, or however they got it, was expired. And I learned of their process for getting rid of expired bread and pastries. And what they do is they turn it into chicken feed. And it was awesome because I got pallet after pallet of bread, cupcakes, full cakes, like sheet cakes,
Nice.
and every kind of pie, every kind of snack, whatever it is. And it was all expired. And we had to take it and throw it to the back of a semi-trailer. So I spent my afternoon volunteering, literally throwing bread and cakes and pies in their entirety just for fun, like chucking. Like I
throw cakes all over the place.
What was interesting is we didn't take the plastic off. If there was metal, we had to take that out so the chickens didn't eat that or whatever. But I was confused what happens with the plastic, because you could just throw the cake in the plastic to the back of the trailer, or the bread in plastic bags. You just whip to the back of the trailer. You'd have to take the twisty tie off, because that would be potentially a little bit of metal depending on the type of twisty tie. But we spent the afternoon throwing pastries, like entire cakes. And I made a real point, just because I knew I had the best job, of like offering the opportunity to everyone who was doing other jobs.
You want to throw a cake?
I walk up to them exactly like that, and just like have a cake in my hands and be like, "Hey," it's like, "Oh, what's going on? Hey, you see this cake? Yeah. What's wrong with it? Oh, you want to throw it? Like, you just want to throw it at somebody?" And they're like, "Oh my God, yes." So I kept like volunteering
all
to
night.
Have everyone go in, and yeah, a few people got a little carried away and took them out of the plastic bags and really got their fingers in it and took it apart and whipped it in pieces. And I mean, they were into it. It was awesome. But I spent the afternoon doing that, hauling expired pastries. And the other thing I could think, they're using this for chicken feed, which is interesting. A lot of the sugary stuff, based on what my grandfather's taught me, could have been bear bait as well. Now there would have been a lot of bear bait, but I mean, bear bait's a pretty big business. And I know that in the UP, my grandfather was able to ask store owners for those expired items that they can't, sell. And he would just take those out into the woods, make a big old pile of something or whatever the legal size is. And then he'd drizzle like syrup or whatever on it. The more sugar you can put there, the better bear bait it is. And you want to make it messy and as sugary as possible. And you use that kind of thing for bear bait. But there's a business selling bear bait. So that would be interesting to turn that around. But we had basically an entire semi-trailer full of expired pastries and everything else. And they leave it open while we're doing this. And the birds that are in the area like fly into the back of the trailer and are eating this. So every time there's nobody in there, like a flock of birds goes flying in there. And as soon as they hear the door for us to come out with another load start to go up, they start to come out, and up until like the first person steps in the trailer, then like 4 more of the last birds will come zipping out. But I actually don't want to eat bread or pastries in the foreseeable future because
you're good for a little bit.
Yeah, I was surrounded by it for the better part of 3 or 4 hours, just chucking this stuff, and it was a lot of fun. But I also hadn't eaten in way too long, and for whatever reason, I wasn't even hungry. But it was just a weird experience handling.
You don't want to go to a food bank to volunteer when you're hungry. It's not ideal.
Well, it actually made me not hungry because I was throwing all of it away, and there's a bunch of mold and other stuff on some of the bread. So it all smelled really good still, but it was a weird experience. But then after that, I proceeded to go out with some coworkers.
If I may, I believe Brent is trying to raise his hand quick.
Yes. I've got that dominating personality we talked about.
Just before you get into that story, which I'm excited to hear it, but I did think of 3 things through all of that.
I thought of
one, chickens. The stuff that you like feed chicken is just absolutely insane. They do not get healthy diets at all. They just get them big and fat as quick as possible.
Yeah.
2, I come from a wildlife ecology background, and when I was one of the classes were telling me like, yeah, so they have to trap bears that are problematic, and what the Fish and Wildlife Service will actually do, like out in Virginia, is they'll actually bait them with like jelly donuts. They just get a big pile of jelly donuts and just go for it. And then 3, your story about throwing cake reminds me of the saddest moment of TV I've ever seen, personally, at least. We were watching Bill Nye the Science Guy physics class about gravity, and right in the beginning, I don't know if you remember this. I think you're in this class, Kyle, but Bill starts off with this giant, beautiful cake. And the first thing he does for his video is he goes off a roof and just dumps this perfectly
drops
great
a cake off a roof.
Right off. I mean, you get the effect of the cake splattering and stuff, but oh, what a waste. All right, sorry, carry on.
The one thought I had off of that, if I may, is that when we were working at camp, whenever we had like mashed potatoes or stuffing or like anything that could be clumped together for a meal, after said meal, the best time was to go into the back where everybody's cleaning, and then any of the leftovers we just take, ball up, and just throw against the wall. Like there's the dishwashing area, and it's all like the linoleum walls kind of stuff. Like it's all the protective stuff on the walls. So we just ball up potatoes and just throw potato bombs at the wall. It was fantastic.
Very nice. But after the food bank excursion, went out for dinner with some coworkers. That was a very good time. Checked out the Packer game. Packers won. Checked out the Brewer game at the same time. And I'm not proud of the Packers win. That's a separate topic, though. The Brewers also won, which was huge to get one in LA after they took one in Milwaukee. So
the Dodgers are good too.
Yes. It's been a good. I'm not a big baseball guy. I'm not quote unquote hopping on the bandwagon because I do support the Brewers. I own Brewers gear. even when they were horrible. I'm not saying I'm a huge Brewer fan or I've always supported them or anything like that, but I do wish them success. I am a Wisconsin sports fan first and foremost, and I hope they win it all. I mean, that would be amazing. That would be fun. I have not paid attention to the Brewers this year worth anything because I'm in Minnesota and I'm not a big baseball fan in general, but very happy to see them succeed. As far as I know, with what their plans were, they're way ahead of schedule for their rebuild, and it's cool to see. I wish them nothing but the best and great success. But was watching them at the bar and got to hang out with one of my mentors at work who I really look up to. That was great. Had a bunch of other coworkers join us, had a great time. Went out to a dueling piano bar. I know they had one of these in Appleton that they tried to do, and I don't think it quite worked out. But in Austin, Texas, like live music is what these people do. And this dueling piano bar on a Monday night was awesome. But our group walked in and we took over the bar. I mean, we sat in the front row. Probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 or 7.
That's like 100. That's like 12,300. Never
mind.
What?
I was chanting your numbers into one long string of being a number. That's
3,
12,345.
4, 5, 6.
No, but anyway, we went to the bar and it was not crowded, and there were plenty of people there, and we were in a party mood, and all of us are sales folks for the organization, for lack of a better term. I won't go into specifics, but we're people. So we show up and we're in a good mood, and we lit it up, and a lot of us are pretty talented. I'm a fairly good singer. One of our trainer leaders, peoples, is in a band that's going to tour Asia at some point in the near future. So we've got some talent in the group, and we're singing along with. That was interesting too, I thought. But we're singing along with these artists, and all 4 of the performers at the bar were absolutely amazing, which is kind of what you'd expect in Austin, Texas. But had a great time. The club went up on a Monday, which was interesting. And the rain here it's like 45 degrees, which is crazy cold for the area. But the rain's been nonstop. And at the end of the night, I paced myself very well because I was with my mentor and didn't want to drink a whole lot. Still had a lot of fun. Still went up on a Monday, everything like that. But went home at the end of the night. To my hotel. I still hadn't checked in at 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And I get to the hotel, and I go to bed. I'm tired, not real observant. And I get up in the morning, and I'm fine. Again, I didn't drink. I'm not hungover, and just didn't get enough sleep maybe. But I go to the bathroom. And I'm standing in a puddle, and I'm like, I didn't do that. Like, I didn't have that kind of a night. That's not me. And I look at the faucet, and it's not leaking. I look at the shower, it's not leaking. I look at the ceiling fan, and out of the ceiling fan is not a dripping stream of water, but a steady stream of water. I was on the top floor of the hotel, and all the rain was coming from the roof through the ceiling, through my ceiling fan into my bathroom. And it was just absolutely stupid. And I've never been that guy who's gone to a hotel lobby and just made a scene. I mean, a scene. And I thought about it, and I'm just like, all right, if I don't get something, I can't use my bathroom. I can't shower. I was out last night, so I'm a little stinky.
You could shower.
I took a redneck shower, meaning I put deodorant on.
You just stood underneath the trickling water.
Man.
Yeah, the trickling water going through the ceiling where all the wires and everything else are. Yeah, go stand in that. It's fine. The
If I may, the Mythbusters tested the whole peeing onto the third rail of a train, and no, you're good.
Yeah, just don't
I'm not
be
gonna do that. But proceed to take the redneck shower, meaning I put deodorant on, and I get ready for the day, and I go down to the front office, and the lady was not helpful. She's like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like, okay, so am I going to get a new room? Oh, we're full. Are you kidding me? Like, I can't shower. I couldn't use the bathroom. You gave me a bed. I'm appreciative for that. But what are you doing here? Like, I need something. And they're like, oh, yeah, our engineer will take a look at it. Like, okay, is he going to fix it? Am I going to get a new room?
Coming?
Oh, let's check in. So naturally, I go to work, and whatever. I left all my stuff in a pile. I'm like, if you got to move it, move it. But it's on top of the bed. If the water gets that high, you got bigger problems.
Yeah, right.
But I proceed to go to work and have a fine day. Learned all about emotional intelligence. That was lovely. But I come back, and of course, let's call the engineer. Oh, he's here now. Oh, great. I meet him at the door to my room because I'm just like, I'm going to get my stuff. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, it's still leaking. I'm like, well, no fucking shit. If you can fix it.
Got that one. I ain't no engineer, but I can tell you that.
Pardon my language, children. I was a little frustrated.
I'm
but
from Nick's perspective.
yeah, they ended up giving me a new room. And
they were full.
As a former, they were that night, the prior night. But as a former customer service person, I can appreciate that it's not the customer service person's job. And I thanked the guy up front who was able to get me a new room. But I was explaining my frustration. I'm like, okay, what are you going to do to make this right? It's not okay to just me not have a bathroom for a night.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you going to do? And they're like, oh, well, we'll give you 50% off on the room. And I had to accept it and not make a big deal. But I'm like, God damn it, the company's paying for it anyway.
It doesn't help
I'm not going to even get any. So I said, I'll take it, whatever. But I didn't get anything out of it. And it's just like, okay.
I think you got to get some. You got to get some. Oh, you should have gone for the free room service or something like that.
Just be like, go with the room service. You don't need to pay. I'll pay the full price. That's fine.
Or like, in-room dining.
What else can you give me?
Room service is paid for too. Like, guys, it's all paid for. Like, unless I'm getting a new like a comp hotel night somewhere, like, it doesn't really do me any good. So,
Only for my plane ticket.
Yeah, I don't know, but it got taken care of. I had a rough day. I got to shower tonight, so I don't stink anymore. But yeah, it was smell that. But
I'm just
that was the extent of my day.
Very
Man,
stuffy.
I will say I have been a big fan of sports and how that's been going. As a fan of both Wisconsin and Massachusetts sports, it's been a good weekend for us.
Wisconsin Badgers lost in football.
2-1. Minus that. That's the one mark. But if I'm sacrificing a season, I'm sacrificing the Badgers because
it wasn't the weekend.
Because the Badgers
split the weekend. They went 1-1.
What other?
The Brewers split.
Weekend in one day. They're 2-1, and
you're in a new week. It's a good week for Wisconsin sports.
It's a good week. We'll go for the whole week.
This new week. We are in a new week. We are still going through a new week.
It is a good time for number 12. Both Aaron Rodgers and Brady with the incredible comebacks.
Nobody cares about Brady.
Did you see his run though? Did you see his touchdown run that he had? You gotta look that up. He just jukes the guy out of his. Oh, it's so fun. Packers get the win.
Clay Matthews did not get called for roughing the passer.
He sacked somebody.
Proud of him.
He touched the passer in the fourth quarter and did not get called.
Right?
Even in Austin, Texas, the whole bar erupted. Just like, he touched him.
He touched him. He got him. Where's the flag? No flag? What?
Did you see that commercial? So Call of Duty has that new game out, that the new Battle Royale game out, and they had that commercial with like one of their characters, but Clay Matthews is getting penalized all over the different maps and stuff. I thought that was pretty clever. They're like, you touched the water. You touched the water. Flag. It's like, give the man a break. I guess he should like trademark something at this point. Like roughing the passer.
He's not. Honestly, Clay Matthews. I don't think you're gonna be making that much money for that much longer. So yeah, trademark what you can while you can.
Plus, anytime then they say roughing the passer on 52 or whatever, he gets a little bit of free marketing right there.
Right.
And maybe could charge the NFL. Be like, sorry, that's my line. Like,
he's at.
I got
80,
that.
I think that after that last sack, he's at like 83 or 84 career sacks. What's the high there?
The highest of sacks?
Yeah, it's gotta be. I think I heard it once. It's like over 100 something.
It's gotta be what? Either Reggie or Lawrence Taylor.
It's gonna be a player from probably a ways back, but in recent Packers, although he's Panther native or Panther import, Julius Peppers will probably have a lot more than Clay Matthews has. Like, Matthews has had a great career, and he'll have some fantastic numbers, but I feel like the sack numbers were probably higher historically, just because of all they're trying to do to protect the quarterback nowadays. But even in the current league, I would guess someone like Julius Peppers, who's significantly older but has had crazy productive years for many years, would be higher than Matthews on the total list. Like, I don't think he's going to be able to reach it in his career. I mean, he's been a great player. Happy to have him, fun to watch. He's not an all-time great for sacks.
All right. So I did a little research. Hopefully you have not, so you guys can guess. What do you think is the highest sack total of all time? Career. What's the number?
It's over 100.
What did you say Clay had?
80,
Clay,
it was like 83 or 84, something like that.
Ew,
I remember them saying
I'll put it. I will ballpark 130.
What do you think, Kyle?
I don't know if it's quite that. I'm going to go
that seems high. Like
117.
The highest number is Bruce Smith from the 49ers with 200.
Oh!
Second highest. The next three
what years did
players.
he play?
Yeah, how many years?
Oh, I remember.
No, what years?
Both.
I know for sure he was playing in the early 2000s, like late 80s, early 90s. Because Tecmo Super Bowl, he was one of the players you could play as.
Nice.
He was just like a monster on Tecmo Super Bowl. So he played for the 49ers that had a pretty solid like Romanesco and some other guys. I think that's Bruce Smith. Other ones have Packer ties, though. Number 2, Reggie White with 198.
There he is.
Kevin Green, the former linebackers coach, with 160. And number 4, Julius Peppers, the only player on this list still active. Or not only.
I was going to say, I felt pretty good about Peppers.
Peppers with 155.5 and counting. So,
dang. That's pretty
yeah,
nice.
I was actually surprised. Some of the guys I expected to see on this list were not there. Jared Allen, Minnesota is pretty high, 133.5. Lawrence Taylor, 132.5. It's 200 is insane though. That's a lot of sacks.
You're talking consistency. I mean, Clay Matthews' physical ability and talent for a couple years were unmatched. However, he's one of those guys that as soon as he slows down, he's still good, but no longer amazing. Whereas everything that I've ever heard announcers say about Julius Peppers has been, the guy doesn't age. Like, his play style is not based entirely on speed. His play style is not based entirely on any one thing. He is just a combined all-around animal. He doesn't need to be the fastest. He doesn't need to be this. Whereas Clay Matthews, despite being a physical freak for a number of years, was not the sustainable model. He's not going to be the guy who every year gets this. There's going to be some years he absolutely knocks it out of the park, but that's kind of like A.J. Hawk. I think he's one of the Packers' leading tacklers all time, arguably, and maybe not even arguably. He might actually be. But it's one of those things that he wasn't – the linebacker's probably not a sustainable position, and he got old. He got slow, and that's why – despite loving Matthews and everything he's all about and everything he's given to the Packers, I think he's got a ticking clock, honestly, 1-2 good years left. Maybe.
Oh, yeah, he's not worth a big contract, that's for sure.
That might be generous saying even 2 years of quality play. So
okay, to go into Bruce Smith a little bit, I stand corrected. I was wondering why I recognize the name. He actually played for Buffalo Bills, who's a team I played a lot of in Super Tecmo Bowl, because Thurman Thomas is a monster. He played for 15 years for Buffalo Bills and then 3 years for the Redskins from 1985 to 2003. So that's a pretty long career, especially as a defensive end. Like, it makes sense how he racked them up. But I don't even think that Bills team, I believe, was that the one that went 3 years to the Super Bowl, or like almost to the Super Bowl and lost it each time? I think that was the Bill. That's gotta be. Because I remember, I think it was the Bills where right around that time when he was there, they played 3 years in the Super Bowl and each time took second, like back to back to back.
My football history is a little rusty.
Yeah, mine
Kyle, do
too.
you have first subject for the day on us?
Well, say
Unless
if
we
I may,
want to.
since we got a little bit of
Yeah,
lull, we're done with sports
football.
talk. I
Yeah,
guess we can talk about the League of Legends World Championship. So this is
Yeah,
the
there's
first
some
one I
real
haven't
sports right
actually.
there.
What?
Esports, the real sports.
So okay, hold on. Segue here: sport versus not sport. So like for me, a sport implies there's two teams, and your actions can directly affect the other team's ability to do things. Like cheerleading, for example, that's a competition. I'm not going to say it's not athletic. There's definitely a lot of effort that goes into it, especially like the professional stuff. Same thing with like the bands. I know there's band competitions. Those are definitely competitions where your actions don't directly affect other people's results. Like gymnastics would be another great example. What you do isn't going to directly affect another person. They might decide to try something that they weren't going to try before in order to try to best you, but your actions don't directly affect what they are able to do. Another category would be race. I think that one's fairly straightforward. You're all in a competition, but at the exact same time. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that's maybe race. Obviously, you're trying to get from point A to point B as fast as possible, but I think race would be its own category. Sport, like I would still put video games in general, at least the multiplayer games, into the sport category. I'm cool with them being called esports, but I would still throw them in the sport category because what you do directly affects what the other person can do. Now,
but what about games like, if I may, what about games like chess or checkers?
So yeah, that's the other thing.
Your action directly impacts the other player.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's another category for strategy, like a strategy sport. I don't know.
Dueling sport.
Dueling sport with pistols. Wait, no, wrong thing. I don't know. It's been an interesting World Championship. Seems like it's pretty balanced. People seem pretty happy with it. North America, as usual, kind of disappointing, but kind of not disappointing at the same time.
None of the North American teams are out yet. They all have a chance.
No, Team Liquid was eliminated yesterday.
Oh, they're officially out?
Yep. I think they're third in the group or something, which is a bummer.
They probably had the best chance, to be honest.
C9 is through, actually. But what I found interesting, so earlier in the competition, because this goes on for a few weeks,
by the way,
C9 got a lot of flack. Got a lot of flack because they were playing like Fortnite and World of Warcraft during their time. Yeah, so the players were not just playing League of Legends, their game. And they got a ton of flack for it. But all the other teams that were like hyper focused on League of Legends didn't make it through groups. So is it bad to not be like, what's the balance between playing other stuff and only focusing on the game, or is that a thing?
I think one thing I'll bring up there is I think that carries into regular sports too, where like gymnastics is another great example. I guess I'm not in the gymnastics scene in the United States, but I assume it's more of the kid from the beginning wants to do it versus they have the potential, so they're put into like gymnastics camp starting at age 8 or even younger, and they're stuck in there until they're
age 4.
What?
Try age 4.
Yeah, whatever. Like
really young.
Yeah, where like you're forced to do that nonstop day in day out. Whereas in America, there's still like there's still school to go to. There's still other things. I feel like in America, because there's more of a choice, and it kind of boils into academics too. Like in India, there's a huge like competition for academics, and like kids are driving themselves crazy studying for things. And yet, if you look at rates of employment, like test scores, kind of things, America's not at the same level, if not only slightly behind, with putting a whole lot less effort into their academics.
Yeah, that's true, though. It depends on the statistics you follow. I feel like in some ways U.S. could be behind in certain categories like science because they don't spend as much time focusing on them, and there's such a high quality of schools. But there is something to be said for hyper focusing on something. But at the same time, I feel like, C9 here is having success, even though they're not hyper focused, or maybe they are just during certain parts of the day. Maybe what we thought, or what people think, like the Korean way, where all you do is play 20 hours a day. Maybe that's not the only way. I guess we still have to see how they do after group stages, but
burnout's a real thing. That's why employers give employees vacation time. It's that way you don't get that burnout, and that way you are more effective when you are in the office. I don't know. Nick, you got input on that?
Yeah, I'll take it to physical athletes as opposed to esport athletes. A lot of football players also play basketball. A lot of basketball players play something else. Yes, in season, you should be pretty locked in. And especially with physical sports, you don't want Tom Brady hooping on the weekends and spraining an ankle. That would be irresponsible. However, when you're talking esports, if as a mental break you decide to just go play something that's fun, even if it's at a high level, because you don't turn off a football player, you don't turn off a Jordy Nelson if he wants to dunk on you in the basketball court. Like, you don't turn off their competitive edge. Like, it just doesn't happen. But for esports, if they want to take some time off, relax, and clear their minds because they've been so focused or so locked in because of practice, there reaches a point in your mental pursuit of perfection where, and I can speak from my business experience, a lot of the times when I'm running into a problem, it's Excel based or system based, or I'm looking through the financials for a piece of information. Something's not right, and I can't figure out what it is. And I could spend 8 hours, 10 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours staring at the same spreadsheet, staring at the same numbers, and I'm not going to find it. But if I step away, I go home for the night, I come back the next morning refreshed, and I look at it, something will trigger. Oh, wait. I thought about this at home, or this crossed my mind. I wonder if it's this. And it's those fresh eyes. It's that new perspective that allows you to kind of snap back into the groove.
Yeah.
So
I'd say, if I may, real quick, very similar thing with engineering, where it's like you have some problem, you have to figure out how to get this little something to fit inside of this, or whatever, same problem though, where you're just crunching on the same thing over and over. And if you take a break from it, try something else, inspiration might come. It's like, or like if people are like writing a book, it's like just start writing, just start spewing anything, and eventually something good will come out of it, and then you just go from there.
Not always the case, but
I'm a big believer.
I always think too that your brain like subconscious processes things when you're not necessarily doing it. I think of a ton of times, whether it's like I'm laying right about to go to sleep, or if I'm maybe doing a different chore, where you think about something and all of a sudden the idea that you were trying to work on earlier, the problem you had earlier, is like, oh wait, that's the solution, that's what I should do, or this would be a really good way to approach this, even though you're completely not even focused on it. I don't know, does that ever happen to you guys, where you're working on something totally unrelated and your mind just like skips back to what you're already doing?
No, that's exactly what we were just talking about, like Kyle was saying. But yeah, stepping away and forgetting about it or doing something else, and whether it's when you look at it again and you figure it out at that point, or while you're stepped away, while you're doing something completely unrelated or whatever, it hits you. Going back to the initial scenario here, you have a team that's supposed to be focused incredibly on League of Legends, and they've been playing it, their practice, they have their strategy, they have their communication, they've worked at it, and it gets dull. Like, you've done the same thing, you've practiced for every scenario, your wombo combos, you've got it all down. And yes, there's something
soundboard.
Wombo combo. That ain't Falco.
If we don't have one, we're gonna need one. I'd be okay with that one, just because it's ridiculous.
I got the wombo combo sound on the soundboard. I just played it.
Okay.
That's a
Perfect.
classic.
So
Absolute
got the
classic.
wombo combo. But with that being said, you're so practiced, you're so prepared for that. It becomes not as useful. There are what's the math term where you gain
diminishing
less.
returns on how much effort
Yes.
you put into it.
Yeah, you're like.
Thank you. So
crossing out.
diminishing returns when you've hammered it so hard for so long, and to step away and play another game like Fortnite, another game like whatever, Super Smash Bros, Mario Kart, Call of Duty,
You're
something
still
stupid.
practicing eye-hand coordination.
Yes, you're still getting that
Double
same
skill.
aspect, and especially if you can still play as a team, that team bonding from a different game can carry over because a lot of communication, that's why corporate events like a food bank work, and why they want competitions or why they want organized activities outside of the workplace. So you can build those relationships. They can become stronger. You can know that Kurt's always the reliable guy, and wait, Kurt doesn't always know everything. He doesn't know what's going on here because
He
he
doesn't
hasn't
know
been
how
here
to
for
throw
20
cake
years.
properly.
So now when Kurt doesn't know what to do, how do we figure this out? And it expands those relationships. It helps you grow
team.
together as a team. So I'm not saying they shouldn't practice. Obviously, get in your regular routine, just like a football team in season has a football practice. But by all means, when practice is done, go ahead, play some other games. And if you can do it as a team, great. That's just bonding. Like whoever would criticize something like that just is not intelligent in sports world for team.
Yeah. The other thing,
There's
if
a
I
lot
may, is that with the League of Legends, all their scrims, all their in-depth practices where they're trying new strategies, they're not streaming that. That you don't see that. Like, all day they're in meetings talking about, oh, what are we going to do with this situation, that situation, and they're practicing against other really top tier teams to get those situations, try them out, that kind of stuff. When they go to stream just on their personal Twitch channels, they're not gonna, they've already done a whole day worth of work. A lot of these guys will stream for like 3-4 hours a day. You've already done a full day of work. You're basically doing the equivalent of taking your work home with you at that point. Like, obviously it's still a game and they enjoy it for a reason, and they love playing it, but at a certain point you can only take so much of a game. And so, especially when it's done with their work day, with doing the stuff they need to do for studying and scrims and all that, then yeah, why not play whatever you want? What do you do when you go home? Like, it's just convenient that they stream it and then everybody sees what they're doing with their life when they're home.
And they get money for it.
And they get paid for doing it. So that's the other thing. If you're getting paid for playing Fortnite, sounds like a good time. I think I'd enjoy Fortnite more.
Yeah. The thing that I think gets it is there's a lot of people, I think Nick mentioned it, like a lot of people are just kind of like butthurt in a way. Like they just are almost jealous of the success. And I think a lot of that has to, at least for C9 in particular, just the way that they run their organization. C9 is one of the organizations that get local North American talent. They have top-notch coaching. They have the right players and the right roles, and it all seems to come together. And you don't see that a lot, I think, from the Western teams where they see C9 doing it this way. And I think that they overlook a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that the organization does that allows them to then go and play whatever other game they want on their free time. That wouldn't surprise me, honestly.
So on the butthurt comment, just at a random tangent for you, people complaining or not understanding about something really stupid or silly. And maybe you guys can give me your input on this. Did either of you see that Apple was being harassed on their bagel emoji, and they had to opted to change it? So, and this was on I read Business Insider. I read Business Insider,
like the bagel emoji.
The bagel emoji is a fairly new emoji, evidently, for Apple users, and they created the bagel emoji, and it's just a bagel that's cut in the normal bagel way, and it's just there, like nothing special. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, okay, there's the before and the after, but the comments that came through on Twitter about the before bagel emoji were just crazy. Like
What's
they
wrong
said
with that?
it was an abomination that the bagel didn't have anything on it or how it was represented or whatever.
puts
And of course,
something
this
like-
news
Maybe people
article
like
takes
plain
these.
bagels.
I like
Yeah.
plain
I
bagels.
like plain
can't.
bagels. Hell, here.
The
Hey,
news-
sorry. You
I
can see
hate
my
cream
notch.
cheese.
You can see you can kind of off the reflection. You can see the notch that my.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Sorry. Continue.
Bigger
So-
bezel.
So the writer of the article, of course, just found the most off the wall comments about the bagel emoji and said, Apple had to respond to this, and Apple chose to respond to this. And one of them that stuck with me was like, "We will not stand for this emoji. It's an abomination," or something. And it's just like, one, that person is an idiot. Whoever would take the time to write whoever uses Twitter a lot in the first place is not of high intelligence, in my opinion.
No, I don't.
Sorry.
Who runs our
that's-
Zarubust Twitter? Who does that?
Well, uses it a lot. That's okay. It's an organization
Nick, point
for the
that
people
way.
who want to
Nick,
reach
point
out.
that way.
I'm not pointing anywhere. I'm not looking at either of you on my screen right now. I'm just saying my opinion of anyone who uses Twitter extensively is you are of low intelligence, period. And that's not fair because there are a lot of very rich people who use Twitter and are all over it. But having money doesn't mean you're brilliant. There are people who use Twitter who use it effectively. I am a fan of those individuals and support what they're trying to do. But I really wish the whole internet trend or statement that should be a trend, but it's not because we're America and we're screwed up like that. The whole statement, stop making stupid people famous. Twitter and social media and live TV or reality TV, excuse me, are just methods for stupid people to become famous. And when they become famous, they get deals and endorsements in TV shows and they make a lot of money. Now, someone who's...
If I may, it's a conspiracy. You just unearthed it. I think back to the Lego movie, which is a great movie, by the way. But everybody is awesome, and they go through, and it's kind of a utopian or dystopian society. But the people that the sitcom that they show on TV is just a really stupid sitcom, and that's how they kind of control the population. And I think maybe it's a big ploy by highlighting all these stupid people and all these or whatever it might be, the reality TV, that we're trying to bring the population that's what's okay. Be like that. Become sheep. Follow the herd.
I can agree with that. One of the primary things that I kind of laugh or smile at is when they price out for your classic sitcom shows or other big shows that are on all the major networks. If you price out what it is that the people do for careers on the job, or what they do on the show and the lifestyle they're living, they then say, based on their habits, based on where they live, based on all these different things, they have to be making this much to support that kind of a lifestyle. And you're looking at someone like who's the Haley Kuko, whatever. She had the boob job. She's on the Nerd Show. That's all I know. The Big Bang Theory. That's one.
Big Bang.
She's the hot girl. She's the Jennifer Aniston of the Big Bang Theory. And she is a waitress in the show, and so is her friend. But they live in a very nice apartment in the city. And it's just like, in order for that to be viable, to live in the apartment they show, she'd have to be making, some insane number. Or, even animated shows, which are silly and stupid, but like Homer Simpson working at the nuclear plant has to be making, crazy amounts of money. Peter Griffin, I'm a Family Guy fan, just for the stupidity of that. Because Peter Griffin, like every other episode, buys a blimp or buys something ridiculous to go crash and burn or whatever. He turns his house into the child show
Rick and Morty.
guy. Oh, No, it's old school.
No, but that's another good example.
Yeah, but you have these situations where they're pushing they're representing a lifestyle that is completely unrealistic or completely unaffordable, and two broke girls. I know nothing about that show other than it's two girls and a waitress who are sassy. I think I've seen it once or twice because the main actress is maybe kind of cute, I guess. But it's one of those shows where they're pushing, they're broke, but then they have all the time and money to buy all these dresses or do all this or do all that, and their hair's always done, and it's just like you're pushing that even broke people can do all this other stuff, and it's like, come on, like,
let's get realistic.
It's just crazy. Anyway, circling back to the initial point, people freak out over stupid stuff, and they write stupid things on Twitter, and writers, whoever wrote the article about this bagel situation, made stupid people famous. So quit doing that.
You know where this hap came from, though? Is I remember that Microsoft Surface or Apple tablet commercial where it's a girl walking through the store and using her fun little tablet, and she's in the backyard, and someone comes down and is like, "Oh, nice computer you have there." And the little girl's like, "What's a computer?" Even though she's using a Surface, which is like basically a computer. Does that bug anyone else? That commercial was...
I know what you're talking about, but I guess I don't remember ever seeing the commercial myself.
It was on the NFL all the time. It was just horrendous. Just a terrible commercial. Anyway,
getting old is going to be tough for you with that attitude.
It is. It is.
What do you mean you don't remember
computers,
calculators?
Do you guys know
you
that
don't use a
chewing
laptop
gum
anymore?
So, like, chewing gum is basically eating practice.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
I'm okay with that.
Sorry.
Works the jaw muscles.
Is that revolutionary for you?
Yep.
Or...
Revolutionary.
All right. So I have a quick question.
Okay.
It's very important. Just so both of you have come and visited me in Seattle. Awesome times, both times. My family is coming this next week for a big extravaganza family reunion type thing. I mean,
how many?
Just come and hang out in Seattle. The mother, dad, and sister. And
all of them.
I was wondering, what, based off of your two expertise as tourists, what would you recommend were things that you enjoyed that I can take them on? And
definitely go talk to beekeepers.
The beekeeper. I don't know if that's a possibility.
Yeah, the hikes are good, but that's also going to be dependent on the weather, for sure.
Nick might disagree with that one.
I thought it was really cool to go to the fish market thing, minus when Juliana and I were with Brent, when we got to the fish market area, a girl was like having a seizure. So that was
a little strange.
Yeah, that was interesting. But besides that, well, actually, I guess it made it more exciting, but going to the fish market area was pretty cool. I think we probably could have gone there a little earlier as far as being able to hit up more of the stores. I think when we were there, a lot of the stores were kind of closing up a little bit.
We got
because you have your full family with your mom and dad and whatnot. You could actually hit up the Space Needle. I know we went there and kind of checked it out, but we didn't go up because it was kind of expensive. But you could, because you have your family, it's a pretty good excuse to hit up the Space Needle and actually officially go up there.
That's a good point.
Kyle, did you see the fountain near the Space Needle?
I don't think we made it that far.
I don't know if I recall this fountain.
I thought it was really cool. Like, it was a simple thing, and I wouldn't go there just for the fountain by any means. But if you're going to check out the Space Needle, whether you go up it or not, I'd check out that fountain. I thought that was kind of a cool little attraction area, something simplistic, kind of a break. I didn't make it to the fish market. We drove around for a while, couldn't find a place to park, and I didn't want to walk around forever because they had marched me up a mountain, down the other side to the lake, and then back up to the top of the mountain, then back down the other side. So I was pretty sore at that point. Now, I am going to be different than your parents and your sister. They might love a hike like that, going to see the water, whether it's just going to the top or actually going down to the water. I don't think they'll make you jump in like I did, but
I might.
I think
anyway.
I think hiking's a good idea. I think that's right up your dad's alley. He'd love definitely going a hiking type trip, going down to the water. I mean, if you take him exactly where we went, he'd love it. Cindy likes that stuff a lot too. I don't know.
She had visited actually earlier, and we took her hiking. So I think that would.
Yeah, gauge based on how much you like that hiking trip for your next hiking trip. I would say, Kristen, you'd have to tell me if she's a hiker. She's fit enough. I'm sure she could do it. But if that's not her thing, I would stay. I have a hard time. I'm a city kind of guy for the most part, but I have a hard time going downtown or doing something like that because you're on vacation. You don't want to spend time caught in traffic. That's not fun for anybody. And that would be, I mean, if you can avoid traffic, if that means not going to the fish market, so be it. But I mean, if you want to go, by all means. But if you can avoid those busier times, if you can find the gems that don't require everyone to be there or having something going on, I think that would be more beneficial.
I think the park that we went to, right on the like river stream converging area where the one guy was kiting. And they had like the pirate boat thing, and we played.
Oh, yep.
Spike ball.
Spike ball there.
Yeah. That's a good place. Definitely could hang out there for a little bit. Maybe I don't know if they. I don't remember seeing any, but if they had some like grills, you can almost do like a grill out there or something.
Oh, that'd be fun. That's a good idea. That's a good afternoon, and the weather should be actually pretty nice this week. So.
Yeah, I had a bunch of rain, so other than our one hiking trip, like being outside wasn't super pleasant.
I would say
it's
if
not
they're
snowing like Minneapolis was.
I would say if they're into it, you could almost take them on a ride around. Like if you don't want to, I know Nick was saying about not getting stuck in traffic, but I guess you could strategically pick a place to go to where you drive past cool stuff to point out. I mean, that's definitely.
Yeah, and so like the walking tours,
skyline spots. Like if you go on I-35 coming north into Minneapolis. It's kind of a cool view of the city. So if you can find something that's actually worth doing in that direction, and then as you're coming back, kind of have that experience of coming into the city, I think that's probably worth doing for most people. If you like looking at the scenic skylines and all the different angles. I mean, you can look at it that way as you're coming in, or you can go walk around the city. And I don't enjoy the traffic and the actual going.
Yeah, parking down there is horrible.
The city.
Yeah, the parking in general was not ideal in Seattle, it seems.
Just downtime.
Brent was getting back on his feet for driving, so listening to him whine about every driving situation was a little rough.
You did well, though. You did well.
Megan was talking for me, basically, because I was back there screaming in my head, like, what are you doing? And Megan's like, Nick's dying inside right now. Nick is dying right now because I tell Megan when she does something stupid on the road, and she's a pretty good, not even a pretty good, she is a good driver, but she doesn't have confidence, and she's very timid in a lot of ways, and that can get her in trouble. And I'm sitting here, and I'm not a perfect driver by any means, but I'm very confident that I can figure out pretty much any situation, and nobody's going to get hurt. It's whatever. Like, it's all good. But and I get it, like the PTSD of a slight accident, but getting back on his feet and that first day having the new car, that was an adventure.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I got that duty of going downtown. That was
even Heather said, she's like, well, Brent needs to get over his fear, so we'll make him drive.
Brent needs to get over it. Brent is driving. You got this.
Let's just throw you right back. I feel better about it now.
No, he's not. He won't be going 5 miles an hour under. He'll be going 10 miles an hour under.
In his defense, the area where he pulls out from his apartment is bad.
Yeah.
The solution, in my mind, is pretty simple. You just need to sit there for an additional 10 full seconds. Because if you don't wait that full 10 seconds and there's cars lined up like there typically are, you're not sure if there's a car behind the other cars. So taking that additional 10 seconds will guarantee that, okay, you saw the car come over the hill. You know it's coming. If you don't take that 10 seconds, you're going to get in trouble. And it's going to be irritating and slow, but if it means you keep your car, I think we're all on board with that.
The other thing is committing. Like there's the opening. I'm committing to going. Like if you just do that like half pull forward,
The
stop,
hesitation
forward,
is
stop.
going to get you hurt.
Yeah.
The hesitation is going to get you hurt a lot more than committing. Because if you commit, people respect that. That's it's okay. Here he comes. I mean, even if they disagree with it, what's this guy doing? Okay, but you have to react to it.
I'm walking.
Whereas
here.
if you come out, you stick your nose out, and you're like, oh no, he stopped, and then you start to, oh wait, no, he's gonna let me go. Wait, what? Bang every time. It's just awful. So yeah, the lack of hesitation, the additional 10 seconds, and you'll be fine. But yeah, it was an experience driving with Brent. So now that he's a little more practiced and experienced, I'm sure he won't kill anybody. That's all good.
Or smash another car.
Thanks for that vote of confidence.
I got you.
I
I believe in you.
Thank you.
That's funny.
what else
Let's
do we
see.
got?
Do we have anything else we want to hit up here? Otherwise, we are pretty close to the time here. Let's do the closing segment. I know you guys kind of had this guy queued up. I still have no idea what it means, but
What?
Okay, so we kind of touched on this in a roundabout way with the changing times and not understanding computer tablet. I have been finding as I go on that there are just words that the young folks say. Can I say that? I think I can. That the young folks say that I just do not understand, such as on fleek or fleek. What is a fleek? What does that mean?
never heard that before.
You hear it, and I'm sure it came from a song somewhere or something, but like, I don't even know. Or there's a song on radio right now where the guy's like, yeah, I maybe. I don't know. But like, why can't they just say on point? Just say on point.
Because you're such a square. You're such a square, Brent.
Where
Yeah.
what are the other ones?
Why can't you just say it's nifty? All right.
Basic. You're basic or you're extra. I think they
It's like
still
Back
say
to the
that.
Future. Why is stuff in the future so heavy? Has gravity increased? Because Marty
So I
McFly
was
is always like,
wondering
"Oh, this
whether-
is heavy, Doc." He's like, "Why is everything in the future heavy?"
Oh.
Oh, it's I know one of them, get lit. Like, let's
Yeah, I don't
get
get it.
lit. So that's literally just get high. So I know Juliana thinks that's one that Juliana hears a lot in school. He's like, "Do you guys know what get lit even means?" They're like, "No, it means like go get toasted and get high." Oh, like, you think you want to be claiming that you're getting lit around a teacher? No, probably not.
Or like the dab was supposed to be like some drug thing, like you're getting it out
The
of your.
biggest one is the this thing or whatever. I don't know what the arm swinging.
Flossing.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Every sporting
Yeah, the
event, there's some
flossing.
kids doing it.
That's see.
I pronounced it flossing, but technically there's no G because it's flossin.
Like flossing your teeth.
Yes.
See, that's like when they say
Where'd
like,
that
"Hey,
come
do you
from?"
floss?" I'm like, "Yeah, like this."
You never wiped off your section with towel after the shower by just kind of running a towel through there?
Not really.
It's-
I know what you're talking about, and that was covered a long
Say-
time ago in Malcolm in the Middle. Part of like the opening was Reese zigs.
Well, I wouldn't hold it up there, man.
That's what
Don't hurt
Reese
yourself.
in Malcolm in the Middle was doing. He was doing it straight up this way, like down and underneath.
Yeah, I wouldn't. No,
That's what the flossing is.
Be safer. You keep it a little lower, and I think I'm speculating. That would make sense to me in some way, shape, or form. Actually, ironically, a lot of the dances that I've seen recently that are really kind of goofy to my generation, our generation. There was a performer when I was in high school, and the performer visited our high school, and he had some motivational speech that I don't remember. But as part of that motivational speech, he did a lot of dances. Like, he was supposed to be memorable that way. And he did like the pencil sharpener and a few other dances. And I'm about 80% sure half the dances this guy did that nobody liked at that point in time. And they were funny, and you're just like, all right, it's to the beat. Sure. Cool. Cheer. Yeah. 80% of what he did is pretty much on Fortnite. Now, I'm sure he wasn't the only person doing it, but I'm like, these are not new dance moves. These are old dance moves that somebody made mainstream through Fortnite, which is great marketing, good stuff, but it's hilarious because none of this is.
Is that the guy that did the Dancing Through the Ages?
Maybe.
I think he came to the school that Brent and I went to as well.
Yeah, I'll bet
he did the Dancing Through the Ages. I remember one of his things was like, raise your hand if you can dance, and like only some people. So everybody has to raise their hand because everybody can dance. Yeah. It's just whether or not you're willing to or wanting to, that kind of thing.
Oh,
yeah, it was, like I said, it was kind of a motivational speech of being a kid or being comfortable with yourself, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I'm pretty sure because we're in the same conference, in the same area, whatever you want to call it, I'm pretty sure he hit up most of the high schools in that area, which it's a good thing to do. I mean, he had a good message.
The school district probably paid for him to do all those as a one lump thing or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. But he had a lot of those dances. I remember him doing a version of flossing. The one that I remember being hilarious was the pencil sharpener, and I could imitate it, but I'm not going to. So, it's like your arm is behind you, and you're just kind of cranking that, and then you just kind of step like it was the old school pencil sharpener that had the like carrier for the shavings that would also go around in a circle. Mm-hmm. So you're pumping your arm, your leg goes up, and then you hold out your other arm straight. Again, I'm not demonstrating that today. Not happening, but you can get the gist of it. Maybe someday in the future, a special episode, I can demonstrate the pencil sharpener if Fortnite hasn't adapted that yet. But that was sorry. What was our closing segment? I'm
to close. Is there a newfangled either phrase or dance that really grinds your gear?
Yeah, the gear grinder dance.
That gets you.
I can set up. I don't know what that is.
Thing?
I think the only one that slightly bothers me is the flossing thing, because it's like you're so unoriginal. Like, make up your own thing.
Everybody does.
Every single kid's doing it. That and the dabbing. It's like
that's what kids do.
Yeah, true, but we didn't have the internet when we were kids, so like our things were like school based. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing.
It was not national.
We are the last generation who can say that. By the way,
we are. We are literally the last generation. Like in elementary school, the cool thing to do was what all your friends were doing at your elementary school. If you went and did that to another friend from another school, you were amazing. Like, where did that come from? Or it was, what the hell are you doing? Like, you're stupid. No, this is the greatest thing.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't really have one that upsets me. Ironically, I took a class on emotional intelligence today, so I can see it for what it is and how I perceive it and how others perceive it, and it just kind of is one of those things.
If I may, Nick, when are you gonna like start doing the whole work thing instead of just getting trained on being a leader and being emotionally intelligent and the sappy, brainwashy kind of stuff?
Well, Kyle, I'm glad you asked that. That question. And with that, I mean, is there something about that situation that makes you uncomfortable or makes you upset?
Kyle, plug your ears. He's trying to emotionally intelligence you.
Earmuffs.
All right. So if I weren't training, what would that do for you?
If you weren't training, what would you be doing?
Oh, okay. Well, I would be doing my job hypothetically in the future. I guess, how do you see?
This must be great.
How do you?
I get hired, and for the first 2 months, I don't do anything.
I'm doing my job.
You're at 3 months, and you haven't actually done your job.
It's a training pilot program, and it will be shortened, I'm sure, in the future. We are the guinea pigs, which is not a bad thing, but after starting in December, I will be theoretically fully trained and capable, but they're still probably going to be giving us, letting us, stick our toes in the water first with opportunities. We'll probably have a more experienced partner to walk us through the customer engagements and everything related to that.
Actually, if I may, I just had a training today. I forgot what it was about, but it was about putting in our career goals into our workday system thing or whatever. That's the generic thing it was about. But one of the points they brought up is that 60% of your learning through your job is on the job training. 30% is a mentor directly telling you something, saying, "Hey, don't do this. you're gonna get it's gonna screw up for you, and then the rest of the 10% is actual like sitting down trainings thing.
I don't disagree. It's interesting you work with a competitor. If I could talk to you about that later, potentially, I can show you some of the benefits of my organization. But no, I'm kidding. With that,
I'm gonna take you away.
Let's wrap this up. We can't do a closing.
Come
segment
join
today.
my
I can do
training.
more direct questioning for you if you'd like. But let's wrap this up. Kyle, if you'll take us away, please.
Yeah. Okay, Brent, you got anything? Any last things, Brent?
New graphics. Check them out.
Oh yeah. So new graphics. If I may, we just
nope. They can look it up. They can look it up.
You can find it yourself. We got new graphics across the board.
We'll make
pretty
it
much
available to you.
Implemented throughout the next. Started implementing. They'll finish implementing through the rest of this week / early next week. But anyhow, that was episode 22 of If I May. Hope everybody enjoyed. Definitely, we're bringing you a new episode every Thursday. Now on YouTube as well, so you can see our beautiful faces. And now with our new graphics on the YouTube thing as well. If you want to get in contact with us, definitely DM us on Twitter at Zarubust. Do that whole rate, review, subscribe. Nope. Subscribe, share, rate, review, all that fun
If
stuff.
If you're big on Twitter, I'm sorry I was ripping Twitter earlier.
Yeah, Nick is. Yeah.
Tweet.
Anyhow, but yeah, If I May, episode 22. See you guys next time.